He was going to bring back $2 million worth of gold with him.
This widow sent $60,000 to get her internet boyfriend back home.
Around 5'10", he's pretty slender build. He's got dark hair, it's short. His skin is kind of Mexican, more brownish. It was probably about 2 months when he said, "Oh, I really think I'm falling in love with you."
Everything between Darren and Tina was going perfect, but things suddenly took a turn for the worse.
And so he needed some money so that he can get his gold from this vault so he can fly home to me so we can get married. So then the story gets even more crazy.
Well, let's help this lady out. She's been through a lot.
Our team will help Tina out and even get a picture of whoever was behind this Darren profile.
This is his passport.
That's him.
That's him.
Join us on this episode of Scamfish, sponsored by socialcatfish.com. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement with our videos help us reach new audiences and can potentially stop other people from being scammed.
All right, Brienne, we got another case. It's from a woman named Tina, and I'll read her email. She says, "Hi, Catfish team. My name is Tina, and I've been talking with a man named Darren for several months. In that time, I've sent him over $60,000. Sometimes I doubt whether he is real, but every time I start questioning, he knows just what to say to make those doubts disappear. Please help me figure out whether or not Darren is real. Sincerely, Tina."
Hi, Catfish. This is Tina. I'm 62 years old, and I'm living in Iowa. Mother of two, grandmother of two, and one on the way in May. So I'm excited about that. I was a kindergarten teacher for 22 years, and I've been retired now since 2019, so about 5 years. Mostly I was a special education teacher. I do miss the kids. The crying, I don't miss that. I met Chuck when I was 18. I moved to Iowa from Illinois, went to college here. After about 6 months, I was hooked. I knew that that's who I wanted to be with. One day he said, "Hey, I joined the Navy, let's get married." So that was his romantic proposal. My husband and I got married. I was 18, he was 19. We were married for 42 years. Chuck was a car salesman. He loved his job. He loved to work. He loved to work with people. He was a people person, so he could talk anybody into anything. Probably about 5 years into our marriage, he's like, "I think we should have a baby." I'm like, "Oh, you do?" And then our family came along, and we now have 2 beautiful adult children and 2 grandsons and a granddaughter on the way. These are my 2 grandsons. And then that's me and my husband, our last picture with the boys. They were his pride and joy. This right here tells my story. This is us. This is my life.
Chuck was the love of Tina's life, and it was their tradition to vacation to Cabo San Lucas nearly every year. This year, however, Tina's family would make a discovery that would change everything.
15 years we vacationed every other year in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. It was one of our favorite places. We always just had a great time. We go deep sea fishing, and I just remember those days with so much joy. So the last time we were in Cabos, Chuck just didn't feel very good. We came back and then went to the doctor, and they ran some tests, and it was stage 4 bladder cancer. And 6 weeks later, he passed away. He didn't die alone. I was holding his hand the whole time and let him know that it was okay for him to go. And he went peacefully in his sleep. He's been gone now for about 2.5 years. It was pretty difficult for the first few months because I was in denial. You keep thinking they're gonna walk through the door, and I just thank God I had 42 years with him, but I'm finally starting to accept that he's gone. And I have little red cardinals you'll notice around everywhere. Kind of reminds me of him. Down here in this rose is ashes from my husband. They took this part off, and then they got inside here the ashes. And then this little print right there is our handprint. He was in hospice then. I kind of had to take his hand and put it up on there because he couldn't move around too much. And then I put my handprint over top. We did that just 3 days before he passed away. That's my tattoo of my husband. These are his thumbprints here, and that's his actual writing. I got that in memory of him. I miss him every single day, but he would want me to move on and, be happy again. So after about 2 years, I thought maybe I was ready to date again, just to get out there, meet people, because I was at home a lot. And I met him on TikTok or Instagram. It was on one of those. His name was William, so he just started talking to me. Fell for him and sent him over $50,000. That was probably only within 6 weeks I had sent him that much. I'd send his picture and stuff into Social Catfish, and they ran a search and came back that he was not who he said he was.
After a costly first attempt at dating online, it took Tina some time to emotionally recover. However, not too long later, the loneliness set back in and she decided to give online dating another try.
I just had, my grandchildren, and then after they'd go home, then I would just be here. And it was lonely, and so I thought, well, I needed to find some friends. You get those Facebook pop-ups all the time, and I just happened to click on one. It said Plenty of Fish. And I met Darren probably the second day. I thought, okay, this is good. This is the right one for me. He reached out to me, and if you like the person, then you click on a heart. So I liked him back, and then he sent me a message saying, hey, I read your profile, would like to chat a little bit more often. My name's Darren, and I'm moving to Winnetka from Canada, and so I'm trying to meet some people that live in the States. So that's kind of how it started. And then I just responded with, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And then he just kept texting, and we chatted for probably 3 or 4 days on just on the website. Just casual conversation at first. Say he's probably around 5'10". He's pretty slender build. He's got dark hair. It's short, dark eyes. His skin is kind of Mexican, more brownish. After about 3 or 4 days of chatting on the website, then he wanted to go text on WhatsApp. He'd call me, every day. We'd text back and forth. And his wife died about 8 years ago. He has a 15-year-old daughter that he's raising. He supposedly was a jewelry maker. It was probably about 2 months when he said, oh, I really think I'm falling in love with you. And at first I thought, I'll fall in love with somebody that quickly, 2 months. He actually asked me after about 5 months, he's like, what are your feelings about me? And I said, well, I care about you. I said, I do feel like I'm falling in love with you, but I said, I'm just trying to be a little bit more careful. I said, because I don't want to be, in a relationship and then comparing that person with my husband. I said, because that's not fair to the other person. And he said, I think when we get back to Winnetka, we should get married. I'm like, I don't know about getting married. Maybe we can just spend time together. Because I don't think I'm ready for marriage yet, and I still don't. And he even knows that. He said, well, it's okay. We can stay at your place for a few days and go to my place for a few days. And then when you're ready, to get married, we can get married. So probably about 6 months, and I did tell him I love you too. I do love him. I do.
Just as Tina and Darren began to speak of love, Darren would experience a series of unfortunate events that would upend his life.
His dad had passed away, and his dad had a farm in Beardstown, Illinois. So he's staying there, and that's where he got robbed. And so they took everything, his wallet, his driver's license, his bank card, and everything. And so he needed some money because he needed to get an attorney because he needed to get his dad's farm sold. And then he said that Emma, his daughter, had gotten into an automobile accident, and she was hurt really bad. So he needed to fly back to Montreal to be with her, but he needed some money for the flight. And originally I said, well, can I just buy the flight for you? Oh, no, that's just silly. Just send me the money and I'll take care of that. Eventually I did, because he was showing me pictures of his daughter. And at that point he said, she's all I got. I got to go there. And I sent him money then. I sent him $10,000 to go back to Monterey. And then at that point, whatever he had left over, he could use as a retainer for this attorney. Then after I sent him the money, I didn't hear from him for like 2 or 3 days. So then I thought, oh gosh, okay, I fell for it again. So then after the third or fourth day, then he called me and said, oh, I'm sorry, I haven't been able to talk to you. He said, I've been at the hospital with Emma. She was in a bad accident. Her friend that was driving was actually killed. And he said, then I also found out through the doctor that Emma was pregnant and she lost the baby. Now I need money to help pay the medical bills. And I said, what, don't you have insurance? I thought that odd. He said, no, I don't have insurance because I was always self-employed. So then I sent him another like $10,000. Got her out of the hospital, and then he got sick. So then he was in Montreal for like a month. And then he called and said he wanted to come back. He needed to come back to the States to go back to the farm. Gave him money to fly him and his daughter back because she refused to stay there without him. She wanted to be with him.
With Darren on his way home, it seems his luck had finally turned. He would just need Tina's help with one last thing before his flight home.
So then the story gets even more crazy. He didn't want to fly to Chicago because he was going to bring back $2 million worth of gold with him. Decided he was going to reroute, packed everything up, and flew to Charlotte, North Carolina. Then from there, he was going to fly to Chicago. Just in case people were watching him, he didn't want to go to Chicago first. Well, then he was detained at the Charlotte airport for over 3 months because he brought this gold into the country and he had to pay all these taxes on it. Ended up paying him money for his taxes. So then he had to pay fees to store his gold there for them to watch it. He called some attorney while he was there to kind of help him to make sure that, they were doing everything legal. And he was staying at this Minute Suite that was at the motel that cost, I don't know, an ungodly amount of money. So they stayed there for 3 or 4 weeks till he ran out of money. He said he brought $40,000 with him and he used all that. And so then they were sleeping in the terminal. I gave him money to pay for the suite because I didn't want his daughter to be sleeping in the airport terminal. Eventually got his gold out of the airport, and then he went to stay at this attorney's house whose name was Ray Wydra, and he was going to stay there just until he could sell his gold. He couldn't sell his gold until he had all the paperwork to prove that it was his, and that was $9,000. He's still trying to get me to send him $11,000 so that he can get his gold from this vault so he can fly home to me so we can get married. In fact, he did call me just before you guys did, just to say hi, he says, see how I'm doing. But then also at the end of the conversation, he's like, okay, so you're saying I have to stay here for another 2 to 3 weeks before you can send me any money? And I said, yes, I don't have access to that kind of money right now. I was going in there probably 2-3 times every week, sending Bitcoin. It's been about 3 weeks now since I sent him money. So that's kind of where we've left it. He's still pushing for it.
After sending over $50,000 to Darren, trying to get him home, Tina's financial advisor became alarmed and decided he should intervene.
See, I have the 401k that my husband left. My financial advisor had noticed, that I'd been taking quite a bit of money out. He asked me about it. I'm like, oh yeah, because I bought new furniture and I'm redoing the house and all this. And he ran into my daughter one day and he goes, I'm not trying to be nosy, but is everything right with your mom? He said, because she's really taking a lot of money out here, the 401k. And so at that point is when my daughter had kind of figured something out. And that's when I told her, yeah, that I had met this guy online and that I had sent him this much money. And now I owe $25,000 to the IRS because I took the money from the 401k, so it's considered income. So I did let my kids know about Darren. They're very aware. In fact, we set it up that if I call my financial advisor and ask for money, he's going to call my kids first to make sure that it's really what I need the money for. When I was sending Darren money, I wasn't paying my bills, so my credit rating went really down. And I ended up with $13,000 worth of credit card debt. I was just using my credit cards for everything, gas, food, paying for clothes, whatever. And I've never done that before. I was very close to sending him the $11,000 because I had to try to think of some reason to tell my kids and to tell my financial advisor that I needed $11,000. And I couldn't think of anything to tell them. I let them know, and my financial advisor both know, that I felt like I was being scammed again. He does have an accent, a real severe accent. I mean, if he's from Canada, you know, they do have some sort of accent. And I think that if he was really a real person, he wouldn't have a problem doing FaceTime like this instead of, you know, making excuses about it. I think there's some reason he doesn't want me to see who he is. My heart's telling me one thing, but my mind is kind of overshadowing my heart and saying, yeah, this isn't, something's wrong here. I still, in my heart, want to be with Darren. If I knew he was a real person and he showed up at my door, I would just be probably the happiest woman in the world. I think I would marry him if he asked me again.
All right, Seekers, you know we had to get to the bottom of this. A few days later, Brianne and I sat down to gather the evidence about this profile claiming to be Darren.
Wow.
$60,000.
In our interview, she actually shared with me that she previously lost $50,000 to another online scam.
Where did she get all that money from?
She mentioned that her husband passed away about 2 years ago and he left her this inheritance. And then she got onto the online dating scene. And because she had lost so much money in the first scam and now she's losing money to this person that she's talking to now, her kids have gotten involved and they've brought in a financial advisor. So anytime Tina wants to pull money out, she has to request access from the financial advisor.
Oh, man.
She was just about to send this person another $11,000. So I advised her not to send him any money until we are completed with our research.
So what do we have as far as like the case goes? Like what has she sent over to verify Darren?
We have crypto addresses, receipts for her crypto transactions. This person, Darren, had been sending her to these Bitcoin ATMs where she would deposit funds and he would share the wallets that she needed to send the funds to.
Gotcha. What about images?
As of right now, she has pictures of Darren and Darren's daughter.
Well, let's help this lady out. Like, she's been through a lot. She's been through a scam previously. She's also lost her husband, had to give up her finances. Let's just get to work, Brianne.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
If you're looking to contact us and you think you might need our help finding out who you're communicating with online, or maybe you need help breaking through to a friend or a family member, don't hesitate to reach out to our email, sharemystory@socialcatfish.com. We can help you find the answers you've been looking for. All right, Seekers, now that we had a game plan, a few days later, David and Brianne sat down to dig into everything.
So what's going on with Tina?
Well, we have a lot of information. This guy Darren sent over a bunch of pictures of himself, pictures with him and his daughter.
And then these are the messages between them?
Yeah, these are the messages. She gave me access to her WhatsApp.
I find myself smiling just thinking about you and the beautiful love we share. Distance and circumstances have tested us. They only make us stronger, not weaker. You are always in my heart and thoughts, and I carry you with me in everything I do. I eagerly await the day that we're no longer apart, but until then, please know that my love for you grows more than words can express. I love you now and always will.
It sounds like it's a poem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he has been pressing her about this $11,000. That's where we are today.
All right, so let's get this guy. We have our fake banking websites. We have a new version of it, so we could use that. My thought was say, hey, look, I was able to get some of my funds deposited into my bank account. They wouldn't release it to anything else because of the conservatorship. I can't transfer them out without approval, but I can transfer them in the account and then see if he'll create an account. She's like, I'll send the funds to you if you can create the account.
So I'm going to help you. I can help you transfer the funds tomorrow, babe.
Or the bait's thrown out, right? We threw the bait out. So let's get this over to him.
Okay.
It's believable, and then just push him. And then so he's gonna probably try to fight back. Oh, I don't have my license, I can't do it. Be like, this is the only way I can get money to you. You know, I know they're not giving me any other way to get money to you.
Yeah.
So like, if you can figure out how to do this, I can send you money. Say, if not, I have no money to send you.
Brianne and David were making progress on finding answers for Tina. We wanted to make sure we had an answer for every question she had. Once we felt confident to sit down with Tina, we set up a call to reveal everything to her. But right before our interview with her, she received a call from Darren, begging her to send money.
Hi. What are you doing?
Was watching stuff at the step out later.
So, I'm good. I'm just hanging out here, not doing much. Gonna leave in a little bit and go and get some milk and stuff at the store, then pick up the boys. It's pretty much what my day is gonna be. What are you gonna do today?
Went down and just shower in the morning and took a walk early and then go back home.
Oh, okay. All right. And what's Emma doing today?
She did the starters and she ate first.
Oh,
Something to do.
all right. So, no, I just wanted to call you back and say hi and let you know I'm just got a few things going on today. So, but I'll be here and there, and so
You know, tell me what's going on. It's a few things going on.
I'm gonna go to the store and get a couple things, and then I'm gonna go pick up the boys from school. I might bring them back here for a couple hours and then take them back home. So I don't see them too much now since they're in school, but that's pretty much all that's going on.
Check me along your plans for stays, right?
I'm gonna tag you along in my day.
But never tag me along. You're only calling me now. And then that's one of these. I know we had some sort of altercations yesterday.
Yeah, you were very rude to me yesterday, so it kind of threw me off.
No, it sure was at the same time. It's like they trying to figure out how far it was with you. I thought 3 o'clock is what it was, and it's different. And I realized when you sent me the text.
Yeah, they had that storm yesterday, so I couldn't go and get you any money yesterday because the roads were too bad. So I didn't get a chance to go there.
You got plans for me anyways.
What are you talking about?
Talked about you was gonna call the financial persons today. You haven't told me anything about it now. Literally, there's nothing that has to do with us and everything here, and it's being concerned about it. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I know you need money for groceries, and we talked about that. Have a meeting tomorrow with my daughter and the financial guy, and I don't know what they will say, but we'll figure it out.
It wasn't really that got nothing to do with the grocery. A $200 would have been enough. Well, you didn't have it. You didn't have it. You could have told me you didn't have it. We keep getting back and forth. But I know you told me about meeting up with the financial rights and order and with Kayla. I get that. But you don't actually think about what's going on.
And I know you want a couple $100 for groceries, and we can talk about that later after I get the boys. I can't really do anything right now.
Well, I don't know. You haven't even, if I haven't said nothing now, then you won't even talk about it now. Unfortunately, that's when you felt like, oh, yeah, he said something like that, but you didn't know how deep it was. You're kind of different from from who you were. I know I had a lot of flaws of being the person I want to be, and I get all that. But you're different.
I don't think I'm different. I just have a lot of things going on.
I love you, right?
All right.
Texas is sent you. It came from my heart, huh?
All right. Yes, I know. I read the text you sent, and it was very nice. So, okay. Okay. I talk to you soon. I love you too. Bye-bye.
Well, Seekers, you can see Tina was stressing about the money that Darren was asking her for. It was time to end all of this. Our goal was to walk away from this interview giving Tina no doubt about who Darren truly was.
Hello, Tina. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, I think. Thank you.
So Tina, I'm not feeling 100% today, so I might pause a few times so they can resuscitate me.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm not that bad. I have a sore throat, so it just sounds a lot
not
worse.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Tina, tell us, how are things with you and Darren recently?
They've been a little bit strained. Actually, when I called him today, he said, "You're different." He's trying to make me feel guilty, like I'd forgotten about him. So I think he knows that I'm feeling it's just not right anymore. He's desperate. He's really desperate, it seems. It just makes me feel like he's doesn't really care about me. It's about the money. Then he specifically asked me if I was going to have a meeting with my financial advisor. He asked me that today.
This person's asked you for money many times, totaling $60,000. Do you think it seems reasonable for somebody to ask you for that much money?
I don't, no. That's why I kind of reached out to my kids about it, because I had to let them know that something was weird, and that's kind of why we went to the financial advisor and put the restriction on my funds. And then it kind of hit me that people just don't ask for that kind of money if they don't know you.
Yeah.
But then, he'd put his daughter in the mix and make me feel guilty because she needed to get home, and she'd been out of school and she'd been sick. And yeah, no, it's very unreasonable. I wouldn't even ask my children.
Well, that's what I was getting at, is that, think of the sequence, if you really needed money, of who you would ask for money. You would probably go to a bank first and try to go through the bank, the relationship you have. You wouldn't ask somebody you just met, like not too long ago. And so it's just not reasonable for somebody to just start asking for money, especially somebody that's supposed to be older,
I think I just was lonely at the beginning, wanted someone to talk to, said all the right things, was sympathetic about, my husband dying, and just was my friend. He was gonna come here, we were gonna get married, and his daughter was gonna be part of our family. And he talked about being grandpa to my boys or to my grandsons, and I really believed all that.
We have some things we want to reveal to you, starting with quote unquote Darren's identity. The research team, they dug in, they ran reverse image search, and they actually found out that Darren, the real person with the pictures that you've been seeing, is a guy named Brian Choate.
I think it's important to see his pictures, and all the pictures he had been sending you are actually coming from his videos.
Oh.
So if you look at this right here, you see that he's a real estate agent in Arizona.
This smirky grin on his face.
And then also, this is one of the pictures he shared with you, and he's speaking.
Showing houses today in this awesome Chandler community.
Oh my God, he just sent me that one with all them flowers, yes?
Yeah, I wanted you to see that one because I know he just sent you that picture.
Oh my God.
Hey friends, Brian here. Hey, I'm out showing houses in Chandler, Arizona again.
Wow.
There's another video that he shares on his Instagram of his family for Christmas. His daughter is there.
Hi friends, Brian here. Hey, I just want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas.
You hear his voice in the videos. Does that sound like someone that you've been talking to?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just so angry. I just want to just take my hands around his scrawny little neck and just shake him and just go, why are you doing this? Why are you hurting people?
Well, we have a lot more information to share. We have the crypto information. Some of the receipts that you had shared with me, I was able to locate a handful of the wallet addresses, and I did find that the majority of funds were leading back to an exchange. It's called Luno Exchange.
What we want to try to do, Tina, is we want to put all this together. So you sent a lot of wallets, but you've sent a lot of transfers using cryptocurrency. So if we can package that together, it's something that you can hand over to law enforcement.
Okay.
Moving on to Ray, he's been a big part of this whole thing, right? He claims he's an attorney in North Carolina. You also mentioned attempting to look him up on the attorney registry for North Carolina, and what happened there?
I didn't see his name anywhere. But then when I looked him up on the website, there wasn't anything. And then a couple of days later, he then said, hey, Ray has his website up. But it's just like a one-page thing. You click on anything and it's just that same one page. And the address that I Googled is in a shopping mall.
I also noticed that the address linked back to a shopping mall. And I thought that was very interesting. So then I looked into the website a little bit more, and they have reviews. They have 2 reviews. One is from Jane Doe and the other one is from John Smith.
Oh, jeez. Well, that right there's a heads up.
And then I looked into the website itself, the registry information, and what we were able to find was that this website was actually created back in October of 2024.
Wow. Okay.
I tried to click on all of the social media links down below on the website, and none of them work.
That's why I questioned Darren about that too, and he said, well, it's because he doesn't have his website complete yet. He's working with a designer to get it up and going again.
I mean, these are huge red flags, right? The website was just created 5-6 months ago. The address is not valid. It's a shopping mall. The website isn't even established.
So anybody who's telling you that they're an attorney and they're not providing you with a license number in their email handle, on their website, their business cards, they're not a real attorney. And so, I mean, we know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's correct.
Wow, I'm just overwhelmed right now, and I'm just so mad.
So, after sharing all of this information, we're basically getting to the point of that you've been involved in an online romance scam.
Yeah. I think I knew months ago, but I didn't want to believe it. Can you tell me who was Emma? Is she the daughter of this Brian person?
Yeah, so she's the daughter of Brian. Let's see, they have a...
Oh, his wife and his daughter. Wow.
I think that's his mom.
It could be.
Oh, it was his mom? Oh my God. That's the one yeah. And she was the sweetest thing. She talked about how she couldn't wait to meet me and my grandsons and my new granddaughter that's coming, and she couldn't wait to be part of our family. And I believed in Emma. Not so much Darren, maybe, the last few weeks, but I believed in Emma.
Well, she was fake too, Tina.
I see, yeah.
I'm sorry that this scammer, used a child to get to you. It's sick. It's really sad.
I guess it's the teacher in me and the grandma in me that, kids just bring you in.
Yeah.
I think that's what hurt the most is Emma, because I loved Emma. Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's try to find out who this guy is. We'll set up the banking website. We'll get access to your WhatsApp. Brianne will message him as if she was you, and then she'll set everything up. So you don't have to worry about talking to him and going back and forth. And in the best case scenario, we would get them to turn on their camera on their phone or their laptop. And we'll find out exactly what this person looks like.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for everything. It's not the news I wanted to hear, but it was the news I was expecting. But I appreciate you guys so much. I really do. Everything you do, I can seriously just slam the door in his face and give him some of his own medicine, you know? And maybe I won't even tell him off, because does he even deserve the satisfaction?
Probably
No.
not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
He doesn't even deserve that, because all he'll do is try to convince me otherwise. And so I think at this point, yeah, I'm relieved. And if we can get him trapped, I'm just blocking him out of my life and I'm moving on. And I'm not even going to speak to him again.
I think that's the right way to handle it, for sure.
So yeah, thank you again. You guys are amazing.
Thank you for sharing your story, Tina.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we were able to help. We'll stay in touch and we'll try to see what we can do to find out more information about him, okay?
Okay, all right. I appreciate it.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you,
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you. Bye now.
A few days later, David had an update on Darren signing up for our fake bank site.
All right, so I told you I had good news for you, and I have amazing news. So the guy that Tina's been talking to for what, a year and a half now?
Yep.
We couldn't get him to, get on a call, reveal himself. And what we decided to do is like, all right, let's get him into a fake bank account that we built.
Yeah.
At minimum, we'll get his IP address, right?
Right.
So we got his IP address. Guess where he's at?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Yeah.
But we got a lot more.
Okay.
I have his personal email,
Yeah.
his personal cell phone number. I have 2 cell phone numbers. And this guy was kind enough to even submit his passport.
A passport.
His passport.
What a guy.
This is his passport.
That's him.
That's him.
Ugly looking dude.
But Adafe Imonia, we got you, baby.
What do we do with this guy, David?
Time to confront him.
Yeah.
This is a guy that's been messing around with him for a while. He's playing a lot of emotional games. We have enough information to make an arrest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so let's package this up. Let's get it to EFCC, and then from there, confront him. I think we just confront him.
Yeah. It'd be nice to show Tina this on the live.
Yeah, and surprise
Also,
her, huh?
Yeah, and also confront him on the live. That's why y'all gotta come check out the live.
All right, let's do it.
Thursday. Be there, 3 p.m. Pacific time, please.
All right, sounds like we know what we're doing for the live. That's funny.
If you have been involved in a romance scam, don't forget to report it. It helps get the word out and potentially stops other people from being scammed. Seekers, it's almost time for our weekly live stream. You can find a link to our live stream on our YouTube channel by clicking the live tab and going to our most recent video. See you all there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget all of our new videos go out every Wednesday. If you like this video, subscribe. And if you want to see more, you should probably click one of these 2 videos.